Okay. So, apologies for yesterday. I slept a little longer because I couldn't sleep in the night.
อ้าวเจ็บ
Okay, so
pain ใช่ป่ะ
so I'm going
was
to share the screen,
อ้าว
and so this is the what we were talking. Okay, there's a tika group of three, and it starts from the triple gem or the three gems. That's the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Then a Buddha, three Ratana. So Ratana means gem. Yeah? Three means a triple. So gem, in a sense, is very precious, and in a sense, it's very
รัตนะ
uh, what is called difficult to find,
Rare.
rare, very rare. So that's why the Buddha, Dhamma, and a Sangha is also regarded as a gem.
Rat.
So, Ratana. So
Mm.
difficult, precious things to find, precious things.
My mom's town is called Ratnapura because
Okay.
it's got lots of gems.
Okay.
รัตนา
Okay, so that's why Buddha, Dhamma, and a Sangha is regarded as a gem, the precious things, and it's in many ways, such as it is a path to lead, a path to protect from falling into the darkness, and also guide for us to find the right path to go on to the liberation. Okay, and which always, if we keep it in our minds and our heart, it's good for us, for the living, rightly living. In a short form, the Buddha was a person who taught people to have a good conduct in the body, speech, and mind in accordance with his doctrine and discipline. And the Dhamma, this discipline taught by him as called Dhamma. Actually, Dhamma is not just the teachings of him, but in a sense, it is a reality as they are rather than as they appear to be. Okay? And the third, a group of followers who listen to the Buddha's teachings and have a good conduct in accordance with his teachings is called Sangha, the order. In the last session, we discussed about the Buddha's life and the discussion on Buddha's history, life history. Yeah, and these are the from previous study,
ของมาลี
and this is a Dhamma. Okay, and Dhamma, as I said, it protects us from falling into the darkness. Okay, falling into the darkness, and in a short form, the Dhamma is not to do bad, do good, purify the mind. Now, apart from this, what do you think of the Dhamma? Any definition of the Dhamma? Let's close the door.
อืม
Okay, now Monit, what is Dhamma?
I think uh, Dhamma is the um, true is a truth
Mhm.
and อะไรอ่ะ the good way the the good way in the world
Mhm.
and this make the this make this make peace to the world
Mm.
and the way to free from suffering
Mhm.
โอเค
Mm.
พอละ
No, is it Dhamma?
The Dhamma,
Yeah.
the universal truth. that the Buddha discovered is all that is true, free of avijja.
Mhm.
Mm.
So Dhamma comes from Dhara. Yeah, the word Dhamma comes from Dhara, which means
Ah,
establish.
come from
Dhara, Dhara,
Dha-
the root word Dhamma.
From Bali, Lord.
It
This is
comes from Dhara.
this is Sanskrit.
Root is Dhara, which means establish. Uh-huh.
ดา
And
ดารานี่เป็นภาษาบาลีเหรอ
root,
อ่ะ
root,
It's Dara, Vinaya Dara.
root, thada. Uh-huh.
อ๋อธาตุ
And that means establish. Uh-huh. And then Dhamma is something which is ultimately true. And that's why it is also translated as a nature, a natural law. And other times it is translated as phenomena. Okay, but in a sense of a natural truth, I think that's more appropriate, because a natural truth, which is the truth pertaining to the nature that never change.
อืม
Like a seed, one seed has got one cause, and that will, if there is no intervention, like human intervention, then that seed will be same seed all the time, and it will produce the same fruit, and then from that fruit it will be again become a same tree again. Yeah? So that is a natural truth, that is a Dhamma. Right? So Dhamma has got the nature, and also the Dhamma is a nature of a change. Right? Nature of a change, also a Dhamma itself. Right? So it's basically having a duty, performing a truthfully real duty of each individual, whether it is nature like trees or anything, whatever is a nature or a natural truth, that is a Dhamma. Right? And that's why in Pali, so in Thai language, it's called Thamada. Yeah? Thamada means a nature. So it's a normal. Anything that is nature and normal, that is Dhamma. And in Pali called Dhammata. Comes from Dhammata, it's become Thamada.
ธรรมตา
Anicca, Anicca is a nature of change. Anattata, the nature of non-self. So Dhamma is also Dhammata. Dhamma. So that's why the Dhamma is, in a broad sense, without touching the Buddha, then that is the nature, the law of nature. Okay? And this law of nature is, in terms of for the human beings, okay, that is a purity of the human beings, which hasn't got greed, hatred, and delusion. So that is basically the pure form of human being, and that's the liberation. Yeah? And the unnatural, that is the greed, hatred, and delusion that human beings have. Right? So that is in a general sense that applies to everybody, everyone, and that is Dhamma. Okay, And in terms of teachings of the Buddha we are studying, we have to have a foundation to know this natural truth. So the teachings explaining about this natural truth, we cannot find better than the Buddha's explanation. So that's why Dhamma also famously known as the teachings of the Buddha. Okay? And the teachings of the Buddha, and in a very summary, is not to do bad, do good, and purify mind. And when we talk about the other faith, yeah, people, other faith may think that our or their faith also teaches not to do bad, do good. So what is difference is that they do not have the purification of the mind. Okay? Whereas the Buddha's teachings is purification of the mind that you have to do. Okay? Now, when we talk about the Buddha's teachings as a Buddha Dhamma, can you think of other apart from these not to do bad, do good, purify mind? What are the main teachings of the Buddha?
and teaching purify mind.
Any other categories of the Dhamma?
No.
Hmm?
No.
Mhm. So when we talk about the Dhamma, Buddha's teachings, what normally do you say? What are the Buddha's teachings? What did the Buddha teach? Ah,
Mm, I,
what did the Buddha teach?
what did uh,
What is the Buddha's teaching?
พระพุทธเจ้าสอนอะไร ใช่ไหมเจ้าค่ะ ก็เนี่ย3 อันที่ท่านบอกอ่ะ
นอกเหนือจากเนี้ย apart
อ๋อ
from three
นอกเหนือจากนี้ก็อืม the way to free from emotion เนี่ย
okay yeah
That's purify mind.
that's a pure
ใช่นั่นแหละเนาะ ก็ลงมาในนี้หมด
now let's discuss about not to do bad, how one can avoid doing bad.
Meditation.
What is the principle of that? When we talk about not to do bad,
not to do bad is observe precept.
yeah, that's right. They observe 5 precepts. It's not to do evil.
Yes.
Huh?
Okay.
Also right thought.
Okay, give me the prize.
Huh?
I answer right. So
Yeah, you
give
are
me
right.
the prize.
Observe 5 precepts. So what are the 5 precepts?
First, not kill.
Not
kill or อะไรอ่ะ do the harmful to animal or human. One and two don't steal or rob. And three do not don't อะไรอ่ะผิดศีลน่ะอะไรอ่ะ
Okay, Tita Dhamma, what are the 5 precepts?
Don't kill or steal. Don't commit adultery or relations with those under the guardianship. 4, don't lie. 5, don't take intoxicants.
Okay, so this is a 5 precepts. Now, Monit, can you read it for us?
1 no to do evil. 5 precepts. 1 not to harm any beings and share loving kindness. 2 generosity, helping mind. 3 respecting each other, family and society. And 4 being truthful and live righteously. And 5 no indulging anything that reduce consciousness. I I say this right? Indulging.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wants to give this one.
Indulging.
It's much clearer. Okay.
Indulging นี่ what's it mean?
Indulging, เสพ
บริโภคเหรอ
บริโภค
อ๋อ
Can you see? ปานาติปาตา Yeah? You see the screen?
Yes.
So the first one is Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami, which means the proper 5 precepts should be like this. I undertake the precept of refraining from destroying living creatures, but I love everyone. And the second, Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami, I undertake the precept of refraining from taking that which is not given. Okay, and this is again normally known as not stealing. Yeah, actually it's not just not stealing, it's anything that is not given to you. Okay, we share to everyone. And the third, Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. So I undertake the precept of refraining from sexual misconduct or adultery, as a Untitled Dhamma said, yeah? With respect to one another. Fourth, Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept of refraining from incorrect speech, basically being truth, speaking truth.
Does this include empty talk and
in 5 precepts that doesn't include
just lying?
Yeah, but if you take 8 precepts, then that comes.
Empty talk. What's the meaning of empty talk?
Empty talk, Parusawacha.
อ๋อ
ไร้
เหรอ
สาระ
แปลว่าด่าเนี่ยเหรอเจ้าค่ะ
ด่าเนี่ยก็ไม่ใช่ Then the last one is Sura Meraya Majja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. So I undertake the precept to refrain from intoxicating liquor and drugs that lead to carelessness. Okay?
เดี๋ยวท่านสุชน empty talk แปลว่าอะไร What's the meaning?
Useless talk.
อ๋อ okay I do it I always
Yeah, me too.
I always do that.
So this is the 5 precepts. Yeah, practice of the 5 precepts. Here is what the leads. Okay. Imani pancha sikkhapathani. These 5 precepts are ends here. Yeah. Silena sukatinyanti. Silena bhoga sampada. Silena nibhutinyanti. Tasama silang visodhaye. Yeah. So this is the 5 precepts. Okay. Now, let's go back to our previous screen. Okay. Yeah, so this is again, this is my version for the positive look of the 5 precepts. Okay. Here, basically, it's the opposite of the 5 precepts. So being kind, being generous, respecting, being truth, and not indulging. So that's opposite. Positive from when we look at the negative of the 5 precepts. Okay. Now, what else when we talk about this? Okay. 5 precepts is not to do bad. Do good is this, right? So this is a do good. 5 precepts is don't do. This is do. And then what else Buddha's teachings are? When we talk about Buddha's teachings, what else you can think of?
Also, not to do evil is also to, when purifying your mind, not to have bad thoughts. So Buddhist morality is also thought as well as action and speech. So you have to purify your mind in order not to do evil.
What are the main teachings of the Buddha?
That's the 3.
No, apart from that 3.
Can't think of anything else.
Okay.
Four Noble Truths, of course. That would command the purify mind because you realize it.
Okay. So it's a 4 noble truth. It's a Dhamma. Yeah. And this Dhamma is also natural truth that Buddha talked about. Okay. So to live in this suffering, cause of suffering, and way to end the suffering. This end of suffering and way to end the suffering. So that is also teachings of the Buddha. Okay. Okay. So that is 4 noble truth. So tell me about 4 noble truth. What
Four noble truth. First is to suffering. One is suffering. And 2 is the cause of suffering. And 3rd is free from suffering. And 4th is the way to get rid of suffering.
Which one?
It's not here for some reason. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the 4 noble truth. Sorry, the first noble truth. Okay. Noble truth of suffering. Yeah, I mean kinds of suffering in life. The 5 aggregate of clinging. Panchupadana khanda dukkha. Yeah. So that's and then the concept of dukkha viewed from three aspects. Dukkha as ordinary suffering. Dukkha
Ah,
as a produced by change. Viparinama dukkha. Dukkha as conditioned state. Sankhara dukkha. So dukkha can be explained in three different ways. Okay? What is it? I do feel poorly. I hope everything is going to be okay. You said there is a cure. Yes, if you take medicine. Huh?
Yes, that I tell you. but you always don't do don't do that.
So dukkha satyam, according to the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, okay, the noble truth of a suffering, monks, is this: birth is suffering, aging is suffering, disease is suffering, death is suffering, association with the unpleasant is suffering, separation from beloved is suffering, not to abstain what one desire is suffering. In brief, the five aggregates of grasping are suffering. Okay? How many?
Five aggregate of grasping mean
ปัญจุปา
อุปทานขันธ์ปัญจุปาทา
Okay. So that is a suffering. Now, why do you think birth is suffering?
You won't suffer unless you're born.
Yeah, birth is suffering because we are born.
Yes.
And the rest is just comes after.
Yeah.
And the last one is the attachment or grasping. This five aggregate is the bigger one. Okay. And now there are how many kinds of suffering in our life? Read it for us.
How many kinds of suffering?
Read this.
12. Birth, aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, mental displeasure, despair, association with the hateful, separation from the beloved, not getting what one desires, and the five aggregates of clinging.
So, according to the Buddha, there are 12 types of suffering in life that one has to face. Okay? So, this is the dukkha. Okay? And then this is what is the birth that is suffering.
So just like after you are born until you grow old, like come to about 25 or 30, you are very dissatisfied with your age. You just want to get older, be smarter, get more money, and you just want to keep growing. But after you hit 30, you have the opposite. You're very dissatisfied with your age because you want to go back. You either want to go forward or go back. You're never happy, never satisfied with what you have now.
Okay. Okay. So this is the birth is suffering.
Yes, birth is very suffering. When I
and aging is
ทำคลอดใช่
And these all again how Buddha explained. I'm not going to read them all. I'm just giving you the brief. And this is a death. Why people? Why this is suffering?
Marana.
Okay.
Marana is suffering. What?
This is a sorrow. Why sorrow? Why people sorrow? And this is what Buddha said. Affected by various kinds of a loss and misfortune. That's why we suffer.
Misfortune. what's the meaning อ่ะ misfortune
Bad luck.
Bad luck.
อ๋ออืม
Hmm.
Okay.
I believe
I think there is another sort of lamentation and
Lamentation. This is a lamentation. Pariveda. Parideva. Sorry.
this in especially in rich countries there's another sort of lamentation that people suffer. It's like not knowing what to do with your life because it's
อ่า
easy to survive.
Ah,
It's easy
Okay.
to find food and shelter. So all you can do is worry. Why?
Okay. And then physical pain is also dukkha. Yeah. Mental displeasure, domanasas, grief is also pain, suffering. And then distress, despair is also suffering.
ปายาส
Association with the hateful is suffering. Yeah. Separation from beloved is suffering. And then not getting what one desires is suffering.
Oh yes.
In short, the 5 aggregates. Clinging is suffering. Okay. So this is what the suffering is. Okay. Okay. So that is a suffering. Yeah.
อืม
Right. This one. Tiratana. Yeah. And so this is from this suffering. Okay. And second noble truth is, what is second noble truth in Pali?
สมุทรสมุทรไทย สมุทยะ
Samudaya.
สมุทยะ
Yeah.
ธรรมา
I think I will show you this
สมุทรไทย
noble truth.
ภาษาอังกฤษอ่านว่าไงอ่ะเจ้าคะสมุทรไทยเป็นสมุทยะเหรอ
Created all along the way. So this is four noble truth. Okay. So dukkha, samudaya, nirodha, and magga.
สมุทยะ
Yeah.
นิโรธะ
That's
เข็
the
ม
four noble truth.
อ่า
And this is how you see the chart.
เนี่ยค่ะ
Dukkha Arya Satya, Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satya, Dukkha Nirodha Arya Satya, Dukkha Nirodha
ก
Gami.
ตาลีกตาลีเหรอ The Four Noble Truths ก
Tattari.
ตาลี
Tattari. Oh, I mistake there. I need two T's.
Sattari Arya Satya.
Okay.
กตา
Tattari
ลี
Satchani.
Satararu Arya Satya.
สัจจานิ
Arya Satya.
So the first one is dukkha arya satya. Second one is dukkha samudaya arya satya. The third one is dukkha nirodha arya satya. The fourth is dukkha nirodha gamini patipada arya satya, or the magga
ป
satya.
ฏิปทาอริยสัจจะ
So this is what exactly Buddha said.
อ๋อตัว C นี่อ่านว่าจอเหรอ จอเหรอเจ้าคะ
So
เขาอ่านจัตตาริอริยสัจจานิใช่ไหม
yeah.
อ๋อจัตตาริ
Uh,
อืม
And the noble truth of suffering is jati, jara, vyadi, maranam, and so and so. Okay. And then a second noble truth,
จารา
dukkha samudaya, arya satchang, is
อ๋อ
three
ชาติ
souls.
จาติคือชาติ จาราก็ชราตัวเจคือตัวชอช้าง
Okay. The three cravings:
ไอ้ร่วง
kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. That are the
ปัญ
cause
หา
for
อ๋อกามตัณหาภวตัณหาวิภว
suffering.
ตัณหา
Third one is the noble truth of a cessation of a suffering, dukkha nirodha ariya satya. And then it's again saupadesa nibbana and anupadesa nibbana. So what do you understand? Saupadesa nibbana or anupadesa?
with the basic without basic อนุปา
Saupadesa. Do you understand? What does it mean?
เดี๋ยวนะนิพพานมีสองอัน two
Tiratana, do you understand? Saupadisesa and anupadisesa nibbana.
Anupadisesa is when the anarahants or Buddha's 5 aggregates of clinging are dispersed, right? When you die.
Yeah.
And some Samupadisesa nibbana is nibbana while you're alive.
Okay. Do you understand now, Manit?
ไม่รู้เดี๋ยว อนุปาทิเศษ
Saupadisesa nibbana means you attain the enlightenment, but your body is still there.
อ๋อ ยังไม่ตายเป็นอรหันต์ the still life
Nibbana is extinction of a 5 aggregate. Okay, and that is known as anupadisesa nibbana.
อนุปาทิเศษ คือตายนะครับเป็นอรหันต์ขณะที่ตายใช่ไหมเจ้าคะแป๊บหนึ่งนะเจ้าคะ
เป็นพระอรหันต์ขันธ์ห้ายังอยู่อนุปาทิเสส
ยังไม่ตายใช่ไหม
ขันธ์ห้าไม่มีแล้ว Okay.
one patient to do medical certificate
Okay, so that is, and the last one, and this is the last one, noble truth of path leading to cessation of suffering as an eightfold noble path. Okay, now this you have to remember too. This is the main thing actually. Right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. And in a short form, sila, samadhi, and panya. So that
ตัวเลขผิดนะท่านสุชนwrong number ต้องมี
extra one.
only 8 ใช่ไหม
There's a 6 number 6 is it? Yeah. Okay, I will delete that later. Okay, so this is the Four Noble Truth. Okay,
the right view also right understanding.
Yeah. My understanding is, rather than right view, right understanding is the correct one. Right attitude, even not attitude, right understanding, samadhi.
The right way of seeing.
Okay, so this is the Four Noble Truth.
น้องเข้ามันท่านผู้ชม เดี๋ยวหมอวัดความดันให้คนไข้แป๊บนะเจ้า